Hello and welcome to our webinar on classroom management. Today we're going to talk about 3 quick tips that you can implement in your classroom tomorrow. My name is Alyssa Manella and I'm an ELL resource teacher with the ELL Services Department. Today we're going to talk about these 3 quick and easy tips. The first is giving clear and concise directions. The second is using attention-getting strategies. And the third is establishing classroom routines. Let's talk about the art of giving directions. We're going to take a look at 2 teachers giving some directions to their classes. While we look at the videos, let's think about this question. What similarities do you notice between the ways both teachers give directions?
So the little choices that Lois Lowry is making when she's writing the giver are going to have huge consequences. So when we're reading anything, but especially when you're selecting evidence, you have to read it super duper closely. Let's get some more practice. Send these back. And also take out your book and notebook. Jasmine's ready. DT is ready.
Okay, that was our first video.
Students rise to expectations.
How many cuts does it take to make the box into one flat piece?
Oftentimes what I've noticed in my classroom is that students will become so dependent on information from their teacher that they forget that they have enough information to solve things on their own.
So today, you need to figure out what's the least number of cuts you can make along the edges to flatten a cube, and then you actually have to write a letter with your group to your friend, convincing them it will work every time.
So sometimes I'll very abruptly and dramatically say,
"That's all I'm telling you."
and one, it's a hook, because students want to know, well, why?
Can the letter be to someone in your group, or does it have to be someone out of your group?
I have a question for you. Do you think that is the biggest place our focus should be? No. Do you think that you can even answer that question yourself?
And 2, it's a reminder that you don't need all the information from me. You are so intelligent and capable. You have what you need to figure the rest out.
Capiche?
Capiche.
Students can rise to extremely high expectations, so I try not to spoon feed them, but to give them the opportunity to do so. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so we just saw 2 teachers giving directions to their students. Some things you might have noticed about those teachers' directions were they were clear and concise. They also watched to be sure that the students were doing what they were asked. You particularly saw this in the first video. The third thing that I noticed about both teachers is they acknowledge the students who have followed the directions. And the fourth thing is they jump right into the learning. They don't spend time in between the directions and the learning to allow students to get off task, but instead they jump right into learning right away. Let's go to our second tip. Our second classroom management tip is getting students' attention. We're going to take a look at 3 videos this time of teachers using different attention-getting strategies. While we watch the videos, think about this question. What strategies do the teachers use to get students' attention?
I'm a musical teacher, and I love to incorporate music into everything that I do. So the purpose of the drum is really just to get the students' attention without using my voice. All right, you guys. So let's actually take the time now to share a few things that we learned, and then the students know that it's time to stop what they're doing and listen for direction, or stop what they're doing and transition to the next phase of an activity or lesson. Because then I'm not, shushing people, or I'm not, getting really frustrated because they haven't stopped working. It's just a way for me to engage the students in a fun way when it's time to make a transition.
let's take a look at our second teacher who has a different strategy for getting students' attention.
I like to get their attention silently. So rather than saying, you know, if you can hear me clap once or something like that. So one of the things I do is I put my hand up. Thank you, Justin, Diana. Okay. Anybody in the room who sees my hand puts their hand up, and so on and so forth. So anybody who sees another hand up, they all put their hands up. It's a silent way of getting their attention. All the kids don't have to be facing me in order for it to happen. So they're always facing each other when they're working in small groups, and it also gives them a second or two to kind of finish that last thought, whatever they're talking about or working on.
Thank you, Samantha. Listen.
Okay, so it's not an immediately, you know, you must be silent now. So it gives them a second to bring their attention back to the whole class.
Okay.
And now we'll take a look at a third teacher.
I have many attention-getting signals. A lot of the times I'll do a dun, 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 and then they freeze and put their hands on top of their head. In 4. I make that sound, they freeze. In 3. And they know the next thing they're supposed to do is put materials away. In 2. Another attention getter. All right. When we need it to be quiet or we need to get our self-control back, we'll sing a little song to remind us where our hands go. Open, shut them, give a little. Open, shut them, put them in your lappity lap lap. Because we're also practicing rhyming, so the more you can get, the better. All right, you ready? I also ring bells sometimes to get their attention. Again, everything goes on their head, they freeze, and they know the next step is to put their materials away. We are sitting up straight, hands in our lap. If you use the same signal all the time, they get kind of bored with it. So I think just to spice it up and keep it going, I like to change it. And they seem to have fun with it too. Give me a high five if you're ready.
Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed getting to see those 3 different teachers and the attention-getting strategies that they use with their classes. Some of the things you might have noticed where they used music or an instrument, even a bell to signal students' attention. They also used some silent cues to bring conversations to an end, and also some catchy phrases or rhyming words to bring the focus back to the teacher. These attention-getting strategies are great for different ages and for different times throughout the day, so hopefully you see one that you like and can start using in your classroom. Okay, now we're going to jump into our third tip, which is establishing routines. Again, we're going to take a look at 2 short videos of 2 different teachers and some of the routines that they've created in their classrooms. While we watch the videos, think about these 2 questions. How do these teachers use routines to maximize instructional time? And what routines have they established? Let's take a look.
Some of the routines that I have in my classroom is what we here at Amistad call the number system. I thought we could start today with an activity, okay? So I'm going to need 3 volunteers, and I am going to just choose your number, your random number. So can I have number 5 come up? Each child in your class gets a number. So if there's 20 kids in your class, 1 through 20. I tend to do it alphabetically because it's much easier that way, and it's easier for the kids to learn and understand, and there's a connection between the number and why you have that number. So I use that system for everything. Okay, partners, can you please come and get your laptops based on your numbers, please? If they're going to line up, they line up in number order. What does that avoid? The people running to the front because they want to be first, the people who always want to be in the back because they want to joke around, you know, and those little issues. So right off the bat, you've already extinguished that fire. The kids know their numbers, so they know what they're going to get, where they're going to get it from, when they finish, where they're going to bring it back to, where they're going to put it. It teaches the kids accountability, responsibility, and it also helps them understand that they have a place in that classroom.
now let's take a look at our second teacher and how she manages transitions.
Super Scholar style in 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Eyes over here. Swab back. Classroom management is so important. And I think that anytime you can embed any academic content in classroom management, it's really beneficial for students. Okay, today, for word of the day, we transition by naming a word of the day, a root word that we've been studying, or it might be a word from our social studies unit. Something content-based that I want students to hear again and again and again until it's just imprinted in their memory. Daniel is going to choose our word of the day. 3, 2.
I would want quixotic.
I'm sorry?
Quixotic.
Oh, quixotic. Today's word of the day was quixotic, a particularly difficult one. When you're seated like a scholar. Once we've selected that, we use that as a transition from our desks to the carpet. Word of the day is quixotic. We'll define the word and use that repeatedly throughout the day. Our word of the day means impractical. Quixotic is a great word. It comes from this book that you're going to read as a high schooler or as a college student called Don Quixote. And believe it or not, there's a guy in it who fights windmills, which is sort of funny and not very practical. It's a really valuable opportunity to really have a word sort of marinate in their minds. You can build on the word throughout the day to ensure that students are getting comfortable with its sound and its meaning. Impractical. I say, you say, impractical.
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 So when you hear that word of the day that means impractical, you're going to head to your desk. Quixotic. It's also a great management tool because oftentimes as a teacher, when we give directions, students want to already start when we're only halfway done with the directions.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
1, 2, eyes on you.
At this point, it is definitely time for science. When I say the word of the day, if your pencils are writing, they need to stop. If your eyes are not on me, you need to swivel. Very nice, thank you. When I say the word of the day, we're going to put our materials away.
It's signal to them that we don't do anything until Miss Noonan says the word of the day.
Oh! Quixotic.
It's a nice management technique and also a great vocabulary builder.
Okay, so we just saw a few teachers and their classroom routines. The first one that we saw, she was using a number system to simplify transitions and speed up daily activities such as lining up, passing materials, and I'm sure you can think of many more daily activities that could be done more quickly by having a number system in place. The second teacher, she used a signal word to instruct students to move or begin an activity. I love this strategy because it's a great way to emphasize vocabulary as well. And since we are teaching English language learners, we know the importance of vocabulary. So the more that we can embed it in their daily routines, the better. Okay, so we saw 3 quick tips today. I hope that you enjoyed them. Again, the tips were giving clear and concise directions, using attention-getting strategies, and establishing class routines. I hope you can use some of these strategies for classroom management in your classroom this coming week. If you want more information or to see more videos or tips for classroom management, you can check out theteachingchannel.org, which is where most of our videos came from. And you can also check out the Teach Like a Champion website for lots and lots of classroom management tips and techniques. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and have a wonderful day.